So today we are looking at centre backs. We've got a vast majority of players coming in and we're going to go through quite a lot of them. We are updating from last time, and to be honest there is quite a few here just looking at this front row that are probably in your missed category now. We've got a lot of team of the seasons. When you look at the likes of Bastoni, you look at Arejo, you obviously think, okay, they've got a better version already. So realistically they are mostly going to be in a miss. Maybe you could throw some of the topper names. You look at like a Militao, you look at like a Gold Virgil. They're going to be more Evo categories, especially with some of the icons that we've got, because we are now heading into the category of 92, 93 centre-backs, full-backs, all going into Evos now. Now, obviously, there's going to be a lot that, to be honest, I'd probably just miss out on. Like, there is going to be a solid amount here that realistically are just not going to be worth it. Koundé, even with, to be fair, actually, he's quite cheap. It's Arejo is coming in. How much is he coming in at? It's good. Yeah, he's only got the 91 centre back. So realistically, that would be the one that you are looking at the upgrade more than the 89. But the 89 can go up to this 94 as well. So there's lots of capabilities that you could throw in. Quite a lot of these, to be honest. Which then it gets a little bit more interesting as you go further and further down, because when you look at kind of going down into your Tomores, you think, well, I mean, Tomores not got another version. You could potentially wait out and go for a potential footies. You could wait and see if we get a promo that's not performance based, and he does get one. That's fair enough, but at this point I think he's got a chance to be able to be up there as the 94 to get that upgrade, as well as then being in the category of at least a semi-decent centre-back. With the ones with the upgrades, like even now with Van der Ven, I'd possibly go with an Evo, but he has got an upgraded card that we will look at. Then we've got the likes of Tar, realistically a lot that you potentially would drop out. Varane was always one that you'd consider going into an Evo, purely on the fact that, like a Marco Reus, like a Jamie Vardy, are they going to get another upgrade? Varane was an interesting one because he was at the very, very start of the game. And again, when you put his name into the foot bin calculator and go with some sort of an Evo, you've put him at 448. You could get him up to that 94 rated and, like I say, casually upgrade him as you go. It's the one thing I do like with the crazy amount of Evos that we are getting. It has given us the ability to be like, even if we do get like a 94, we're going to get 3 of them. So we can bring some of these players with us rather than going into the evolutions and thinking, okay, well, we've got this one. Let's have a look at the popular Theo Hernandez. I mean, it's not always about that, because you've got 5 other Evos that he could go into as well, which is always the point for me when it comes to the Evos. It's not just banging on the meta, like just consistently. Some of them, like the very first Mbappe, it's fair enough. It's the first Mbappe. But from that then, you're going to get another 3 that Mbappe can't go into because you've already Evo'd him. Same with the centre-backs. Once you've done Virgil, you've done Saliba, you've done Theo Hernandez, you've done a Carl Walker, you then have another 4 to go with that they can't go into until it's reached their upgrade. You've got more spots, which is always nice. So if you're looking for coins, check in the description for Eldorado. Depending on the coin amount that you're looking for, the delivery time is displayed on the website, and you'll see lots of different trusted sellers with reviews on specifics and also the ability to be able to pick who you want. It will also show how much they have in stock, and obviously you can see that they are verified members. There is 100% refund ability and also 24/7 support if you need any questions with your coin needs. Also, if you head over to Trustpilot as well, you can see over 30,000 upvotes for them. You can see how reliable they are. Obviously great feedback across the entire board with Eldorado. So when on checkout, make sure you are using the code JT11 for 5% off your order every time. Discount code JT11. Now let's get back to the video. This is where now we're getting some of the icons. Now, there is a lot of them that, to be honest, aren't worth it really. Like, you look at quite a few like Vidic. He's not going to be in it. Desai, Herrero, they're not going to be ones that are potential. Cannavaro has got some playability. With a right triple playstyle plus, could be a solid option. Bobby Moore, I'm not really feeling. Coman again, and you've always got to be very steady and careful with these because we've had such a block of no icons or heroes. They are going to be the next promo after Team of the Season. I don't know. In fact, I wonder if we can find out. If we go into FC24 here, can we go to players and we go to FC24 players? We did get after Team of the Season. It should go in order. Should it go in order? Where is Team of the Season? So we had team of the season. We had great. Okay, so we had greats of the game. So obviously we did have greats of the games, heroes and icons, which did give us a solid amount. Like, I mean, we did get a fair amount, but it was during obviously the World Cup and all of that. So not really going to get that, but before we had shapeshifters, it's where we got Ginola 98 from. There is a lot of players that you can go with there. Carlos Alberto, I mean, you could definitely still get away with them. I don't know if they'd quite go into the meta category. Like, Rio is still phenomenal, but whether I'd put him into the absolute top, I think he needs another upgrade. He obviously can go into a few, like we said, they can go into the 94s now because we're getting 92s available. Carlos Alberto, I'd possibly put into an Evo. I think he could still give you some work. Same as kind of your Haaland, to be honest. As your winter wildcard, as a centre-back, he was actually pretty good. Like, I mean, now I'd possibly say he's a little bit past it. Like, you could get a bit of usability out of him, but it's really going to be the thought of having a Haaland as a centre-back rather than a striker. So that's kind of it. Romero, actually full circle with him. Like, to be fair to what they did for the Europa cards, I must admit it's a really cool thing for Romero. The card that got 90 with no playstyle pluses was begging for something, and now he did get the evolutions you could, but he did get himself a 97. Fair enough, fair play to them. Obviously, anticipate, bruiser, aerial. It's a stunner of a card. 97 rated as well. Most definitely puts himself way up into that category. But because of that, you could potentially go Evo with the 90. But I'd say you're going to hold out your chances for the 97 at the minimum. We got Company, I'd go Evo, but again, wait for him. Saliba's always going to be an Evo shout. Same as Militao. You could potentially get away with him a little bit. Yoro, I'm gonna put him here for my benefit because I just can't see him not. Same as Konate, whether he gets another upgrade, I don't know. I don't think so. Marquinhos has got the other upgrade. Lucio could still give you everything, to be honest. He has got a better version, so this would be realistically your Evo, but even this version would still give you everything. We've got his 1.1 Dream Chasers at 94, which is incredible. But I would say just because he's 91, we would chuck him in there. Rudiger's got a cheaper version now, to be honest. He's got a very nice 95 that is very cheap. And we're starting to get into now the topper end before we get into Team of the Season. Now, obviously, some of the Team of the Years are probably not going to be there. To be fair, I'd probably only say one, which is, it's a shame for Paredes because she was a great card, but she just couldn't defend to save her life. Literally, I got her on, she was my second Team of the Year, and I gave her like 3 games. 3 games in Champs, and she was horrific. Virgil and who did I put back? I think Yoro's evolution I put straight back into the team because she just couldn't defend. So now is not going to be any different. Now I would obviously go with Virgil. He's still going to be at the top. I mean, it's Virgil. He's there for a reason. Saliba would definitely still be there. Renard's 95 now. Obviously, she has got a same version or better version with a quadruple playstyle plus. I'd still put her Team of the Year as definitely up there with a solid card. Last year, she was impeccable. Very, very good card. This year, most definitely pulls herself in. Arejo now, I'd go definitely an Evo with the 91. De Ligt, realistically, he'd be there with Yoro, but I would say if I'm going to have to pick one Manu, it's going to have to be Yoro over De Ligt in terms of in-game ability. Gomez could definitely go with a bit of Konate. Then we're kind of coming into some of the Team of the Seasons that we've got. Now, there is definitely some Team of the Seasons that are kind of dropping out. If we look at kind of through a few of these, like if you look at your Maldinis and your Matthiases, obviously when you do look at your 92s, Maldini's always going to be up there. Obviously, Matthias would be more of your Evo. Beckenbauer would be more in your very usable. I'd then go Lucio into the top meta, which is no surprise, to be honest. And I think Jaap Stam is another funny one because even though I do think he's still, like with Lucio, could give you a fair whack in a team, his Evos now are going to take him that next level up. He's going to get to that 94, which does put him ahead of the crowd again. But realistically, you need to put him into the Evo before he really makes that jump. I think very usable would be the category without it as such. And then as you go through, kind of a few more, like we look at Hanko, I'd go into the kind of usable category here. Marquez I'd drop down, same as Carvalho. They need better upgrades. Even then, looking at some of the bog standard Team of the Seasons, once you kind of get through, these were like the very first. The last time we did the centre-back list was during Liga, and I want to say, so we've added a fair whack since then, and these are just centre-backs as well, so you can imagine how many players we've gone for. Cordoba, same as Cannavaro slightly, but I feel like Cordoba's just not been the guy. I know a lot of people do like him, but Cannavaro's definitely been one that I'd prefer. Cordoba's just not been that card. Once he gets into the footies, that 97, 98, especially if he can play in the fullback role, normally does a little bit better. Eric Garcia, unfortunately, no. Kimpembe, I could go into an Evo. I think he'd be in there. King is probably a no. I'd then be looking at a few more. Upamecano's got a better version now. Desai could definitely offer something, but I'd be waiting for an upgrade at this point. There's a lot of, like I say, a lot of icons that will be coming out. Some that will be worth the upgrade. Gabriel got a better version. I mean, you could still possibly use the 93. I think it'd be very harsh just to dismiss him. It was a very, very good SBC at the time at 161. He has obviously got the 95. So we'd kind of just put him under there. Martinez would be down, unfortunately. I mean, Maguire could be Evo for the name of him. Do you know, it's Slabhead. I mean, everybody hates Man U, but I mean, in general, in terms of Maguire, he kind of puts himself in the category of at least a likability. I mean, he's kind of that lovable rogue as such. Looking at a few more of the tops, obviously, you look at the 97s, I don't think there's any questions amongst them, to be honest. We'll get into the Tottenham trio anyway, just to kind of go through them in a moment. But then kind of looking through a few more, Pacho was another one. He was already in this list. Sensational centre-back. Personally, for me, was brilliant centre-back. And we do have a few more that kind of go into that kind of lesser category. Martinez as the 94. I do like him as the CDM. As a centre-back, to be honest, if I'm being brutal with him, I didn't think he was a good centre-back. I think he's too small. He just doesn't have that capability. As a CDM, way better. Marquinhos, I mean, we can go into the very usable, but I think he could be dropping down very soon as well. If we do look at the trio, in fact, because we do have the likes of Danzo, which is coming in at 160. They obviously gave certain playstyle pluses to the better, or the almost like the first team kind of players, and also the better players in there. So obviously Danzo comes in with a pinged pass, block and slide tackle. It's decent enough, but nothing too crazy. Obviously then you've got Van der Ven. He was obviously going to get the quick step, block and intercept. Another great card when it comes to it. And then you do have Romero. Now, I do think when it comes to the kind of comparability between the Van der Ven and also Romero, Romero's got the better playstyle pluses. Van der Ven has the better pace. Now, obviously, depending on what you prefer, I have always preferred Van der Ven as a centre-back in this game. He was just waiting for that break. Who would have thought that the first break he'd have got was winning the Europa, for Spurs as well. I mean, fair play. So I would personally go... I'd go here, and then Danzo would come into the usable. He's a great rating, great stats, but I don't know if I'd have him in that top of the top. I'd go Gabriel up here, and I'd have Rudiger as well. I think they are underrated for the price. Obviously, Saliba is another one in there. Davinson Sanchez, very nice rating, and most definitely in the right nation and the right team. The tax of Prem, and maybe like being French or Dutch, seeing as though all of them seem to be. That would have been an incredible shift for him, and to be honest, you'd see his price change a lot more. It's the same whenever you see an English Prem tax for like Foden or someone like that, and it was the same for Man U players back in the day. Not anymore. They're trying to sell them. You definitely see him at a higher price just because he is in the is it the Turkish league? I can't remember actually. Is it because I can't see the thing? It's because it's gone so far down. David's why can't I go with his name? There it is. Yeah, Turkish league. I thought he was at Galatasaray, honestly. But then obviously being Colombian, when you do look at the amount of Colombian players, you've obviously got the likes of Caicedo, Cuadrado, Ababo. They're just not enough yet. If we got like some, well, we get into some footies and we get a Luis Diaz, a Cordoba upgrade, we could see maybe a little bit of a price kind of change. But the fact that he's obviously 172,000 in that kind of circumstances is always very good. Always like Koyunde as a right back or as a centre back. He works for me. Kim Min Jae will most definitely put himself there amongst Schlotterbeck and Upamecano. Looking at a few of the lower ones, and a lot of the time it is going to be in the kind of the minor leagues as such. Can I zoom in one more? We'll kind of go here because I don't know how many more top metas we're looking at here. But in terms of the kind of very usable, I think Pavard puts himself up. I'm pretty sure he's got an upgrade as well. He most definitely was a solid one. No, 92, 30,000. He's in the usable category, sorry. Then obviously look at Carragher. I'd miss out, and to be honest. Sol Campbell, I'd do the same, wait for that upgrade. Diaz, I'd probably wait for an upgrade as well, to be honest. Like, he's been in my team for absolutely ages, from the starter team of the season, but now he's most definitely in due of an upgrade. The triple play style plus is in a lot of centre-backs. You've got a lot of choice. Like, maybe he could squeeze himself into that usability, but it would just be a squeeze. Same as David Alaba. Yeah. Schlotterbeck on the bench. We've got a few more kind of just bog standard, unfortunately. We do have Alexandro, who is brilliant as him. He was great in Ligue 1, and he's so cheap. This is kind of the big thing with a lot of them. You've got so many cheap top-end centre-backs. You've got Barsagli as well, as a 95, coming in with literally next to no profit at all. And he's absolutely wonderful. I didn't really fancy the Dan Burn, and same as a lot of the female centre-backs. They really just didn't upgrade them much. Like Mappy Lyon, a great card, a potential of a lifetime. We get a triple upgrade, that's it. From 90 to 93. She got this card in numero foot way back when. What? I mean, we could literally Evo her higher than that 93. And I get they can't give everybody a 95, 96. But this is the problem. When you can Evo someone already better, a card that you could have got months ago for half the price. Yes, maybe the Playstyle Pluses are not necessarily as good potentially. I mean, it's not far off. Like, you've still got the Anticipate, the Bruiser over the Intercept. You could argue it's just one of them, unfortunately. So there is a lot that do come under question. I do think Mappy Lyon is probably one of the only ones really that I would consider going into that category. A lot of the female team of the season, other than your normal like Renard sort of players that you've seen before, are obviously up there, but realistically a lot do drop down, unfortunately. So then we've kind of gone through a few of them. Tchouameni, I mean, he is more of a CDM. Whether I'd put him as a centre-back, I probably wouldn't, to be honest. As a centre-back, I don't think I would go in there. Then we've obviously got the likes of Blanc. We've got Baresi. I'd probably miss out on both of them, to be honest, as a centre-back anyway. Blanc had a really good cam in his Foot Immortals, but I'd say the 94, maybe, just maybe you could go into kind of your usability, and that would be about it. Baresi's got no chance whatsoever. And then we do have a Virgil van Dijk. He obviously goes up into the top. Kind of look for a few more of kind of the bog standard leagues, more so than anything. Orban might be a little bit of a shout, but again, comes in with the Bundesliga. Unless you've got a Bundesliga team or you got someone like Puskás, is only going to be a standard card. Like, he's not going to give you everything you need. Like, I think when you look at him in comparison to quite a few, they're just not going to be on that same sort of level. I do think Otamendi is kind of like a Davinson Sanchez, but holding his price slightly. But he is most definitely a 95 with some decent playstyle plus and stats. You could argue both of them potentially should be in that same sort of category. Leeds centre back, unfortunately, they're just not going to be there. Milinkovic. Now, he's another one that most definitely had a solid season. Now, if I can spell his name, that would be absolutely outstanding. Kind of looking through the Prem centre-backs as well. Obviously, you've got your top of the tops. But then you kind of do come down. I just wasn't necessarily a big fan of the Dan Burn. He just feels a bit stocky, in my opinion, and especially as if you're going to try and put him fullback, I just really don't think it works. Milenkovic, is that how you pronounce it? Milinkovic is obviously the centre mid and goalkeeper, but in general, it's a solid card. He can get the upgrade into the 94, which is nice. He doesn't get the Anticipate, unfortunately, and very few physical upgrades, but he's kind of a standard. Like, I think you're going to be looking more towards Prem Tax more with him. Obviously, Jimenez would be the same. And you do have kind of the two Barca boys that do put themselves as a semi-decent category, really. And then you've kind of got a few more. I must admit, definitely in the usability category. And I'd probably say Vivian, no. Orban, I'd possibly go no. And I think if it was to really push it, I do think you'd be looking more towards the top end, if anything, and then kind of working your way down into a lot of misses. Some Evos, which are obviously quite nice, and they will continue to possibly drop down if you don't do them, and we'll see the usable cards going in there like we see with Milenkovic. He would be kind of more into your Evo category, and then jumps back up to a usable, very usable. So let me know down below what you think about it. Make sure you do like and subscribe on this, and I'll catch you all for the next one. Peace.